is it? Where is it? Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. What am I up to? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. I am looking through my vintage stash. I'm looking for a very specific vintage fabric that I have in 2 colorways because I want to sew the new Madrone Pants pattern by Sew Liberated. It came out recently and it's got lots of different panels, which I think is going to make it perfect for coordinating different fabrics. And I actually have a vintage fabric that I love and I've got it in 2 colorways. So I'm going to look for that and I hope I've got enough of it to cut out this pattern. So let me see if I can find it. Perfect. Here it is. Isn't that so gorgeous? I've got it in orange and I've got it in blue, and of course they look amazing together because those 2 coordinating colors, if you look at the color wheel, they are what would be called complementary colors because they are opposite on the color wheel, which means they work like kind of like besties, like coordinating besties. So I'm going to cross my fingers and see if I've got enough to cut out the pattern with these. So I have my pattern printed and ready to go, and what I did is I actually took the graphic that is provided and I colored in how I want my panels to be, and then I took a look at the pieces that are marked with letters and I listed out which ones would be orange, which ones would be blue. And then so when I cut out my pattern, I actually got super organized. Whoops, that one's not marked, but I actually, if I can ever show you, I marked the pattern letter because they're actually not marked on it, and I marked the color that I'll be cutting it at. I think when you've got a lot of different panel pieces like this and you're working with 2 different colors, that is not a bad idea, just to help yourself. So you do all your thinking up front, and then when you get into it, you can kind of get into a flow state and just start cutting and planning. I mean, you still got to use your brain. Like, sewing is a lot of brain work, don't get me wrong, but you can once you get in the rhythm, and that's for me, that's the goal. That's where I want to be, in that rhythm. So I do a lot of the prep work up front so that I've got a plan, I know what I'm doing, and I can just get on the scissors and cut out my pattern. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so I've done a rough kind of plan of laying my fabric and laying the pieces on top, and because vintage fabric is so narrow, it's a little bit restrictive and I'm having a little bit of difficulty getting all of the pieces on there, which was always a risk, but I'm very close to getting it worked out. So it might mean that I need to change a few of, it might not be to perfect plan. So I'm going to cut as much as I can out of the colors that I'd planned, and then it might be a matter of substituting in another fabric if I don't have enough and just seeing what works, or changing out some of the colors that I'd planned. So instead of having 2, what have I got, 2 orange hem facings, maybe one's orange and one's blue, just depending on what I can fit. So I'm still gonna persist or persevere because I think I can get still the bulk pieces that I need out of it, and then hopefully if I do have to introduce another fabric, I'll look for a fabric that I've got that will work, or if possible just switching up the plan a little bit with, and I can squeeze it out of this somehow. Because if the panels are all really kind of curvy and different shaped, it makes it not easy to lay it out on the fabric because they're, you know, they're not square or rectangle. So I'm doing my best and I'm gonna cut it out. I'm just gonna lay it out and cut it out and see where I get to. And as always, hope for the best. I really needed to check if I've got another fabric that's gonna work, because that's like a big part of the pattern that's not gonna fit. So before I cut anything, yeah, I really want to see. Okay, so I've come up with 2 choices from the stash. I've got this, if I'm keeping vintage, I've got this very cute vintage fabric. I love the colours in it. And it's got some of the blues like pattern clashing. It could work. And I've also got this remnant, which is like a linen-y type, heavyweight linen type fabric. And it's the right colour blue, almost. And it's closer to the weight. This is like a, I'm going to say it's like a drill, but a lightweight drill, the original vintage fabric. This is very much a cotton. And I just think it'd be great to get something to match the weight of the original fabric so that, you know, consistency. So I'm leaning towards going for just the plain blue, and yeah. So that's what I'm going to do for this lower side panel. The lower side panel is just on the bottom of the leg. Down here, you can't really see it, but it's like it goes from here to here, and I don't think it's going to be a big deal. And I think if I use just the plain blue, it could look okay. Fingers crossed. This is so beautiful though, look at it. How cute is that? Everything's cut out. That took a little while. That took a minute trying to Tetris it onto that fabric. And this is where we've landed. I've managed to get most pieces out of it. There was like a pocket lining and then that lower leg part that I have to cut out of a completely different fabric. And there was a pocket, one pocket piece, which I think might end up on the inside. And I ended up piecing together two little scraps just to cut that pocket piece out. I managed to get that one out of the full piece. So I think I have everything cut out now. I just didn't have my facing, interfacing. So I will, I don't know, cut that out when I need it. I'm going to sit down and do a read of the instructions because I haven't done that yet. And then I'm going to figure out the sewing plan, which is the best part. I don't really like cutting out that much. I like the sewing part. So yay, onto that. I mean, I should have known that the first step would say do the interfacing. It always does. Why did I think that I could just go on my merry way? So now I'm cutting the interfacing out and I'm going to have to iron it on. Got my trusty little iron out for the job. But yeah, BRB when I've done that. Okay, now I can finally say that I've prepped everything and I think I'm ready to sew. The first step is to just attach the pocket lining to the pocket, the panel where the pocket is going to be. So I'm literally just going to dive in. I didn't read ahead. I'm going to go step by step and sew it as I go, figure it out as I go. It feels like one of those patterns that it's like maybe a little bit too complicated to just like read ahead and absorb it. So I think it's the kind of pattern that I just need to read and absorb as I go because it's pretty, I don't want to say complex, but there are a lot of pieces and I've got them in different colors and far out there were so many notches, which makes me think, yeah, there's a lot of piecing together, like fitting this piece because a lot of pieces were cut on the curve. So I'm interested to see how this goes and I'm excited as well, especially because I love the fabrics that I've got and I'm so glad I persisted with them. So let's go. And we have two pockets, a little bit of top stitching. I did do a bit of a dumb thing and when I did the pieced pocket I forgot to cut it mirrored, so that pocket's a little bit smaller, but we made it work. And that's the pieced. It's on the inside, you don't even notice. And I've completed the fronts, and this is what they look like. The colours look so good together. It's such a dream, and yeah, they turned out really nicely. I top stitched. You probably can't see very clearly because I used the same coloured thread, but everything is top stitched lovely. The sewing method is, I feel, sometimes more complicated than it needs to be, but I see what they're doing. Maybe the sewing method isn't complicated, but the instructions feel more complicated. And I've sewn the Arthur Pants pattern, which is by the same pattern company before, and I remember feeling that way about the instructions on that pattern as well. I love, love, love those pants so much, but I don't know what it is with the way that they have their instructions and the way that my brain works. It doesn't, I don't know, it's like I have to read and reread and reread a lot of times for it to make sense. And then even then, I think I still often make little mistakes and little trip ups. But I'm going to I think the first time I made the Arthur Pants, I did make a lot of mistakes on them, I think because of that reason, but also my inexperience. And I've got a lot more experience now, and even though the instructions I find a little complicated, I think with my experience, it's helping me sail through a little bit better. So I'm onto the back pockets now. I'm just heating up my iron, and I'm going to put them into shape. Okay, so a bit of pressing of the pocket, and I'm just going to go and do the stitching along there and along there, and then a little bit more pressing. So I need to stitch the top down along there, and then my pockets will be finished. Pockets are done. I didn't do my pockets as a contrast colour because I didn't like the look of that personally, but I think I've seen it on a couple of the example pairs, and I mean, I thought for this fabric that I'm using and this design, I think if I was using denim or something, it might look cool. Top stitched one side down. That looks really good. So now I've got two backs, so that's one back of the pants, and I've got my fronts finished. Start getting a little bit motivated now, like, oh, I'm gonna finish these, they're getting close. But I think there is quite a lot of work to do with the drawstring waistband. Anyway, I'm on to assembling the sides now, so decision time about using the plain cotton. Okay, let's just have a little vision of it. So this would be that would be the side. This is very hard to see. I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. I'm thinking about going for this, but then I don't want to cut into a whole big piece of fabric just to get these side panels, because this is not a scrap. This is a proper couple of meters, but it's been sitting in my stash for ages and I haven't sewn it, so I don't know. So I've laid the side panels up, how it would look. This is the front panel, this is the side, how it would look with the plain, and then I'm just comparing it to this is I think sewing is like a lot of everything but sewing. Decision making, cutting, ironing. Okay, so now if I was to use this fabric, it's got a darker feel, but I actually like it better because it's pattern with pattern, whereas I think this one being plain will draw the eye too much to the plain area, because naturally when there's a lot of pattern and then there's something with no pattern or there's space, your eye will go there, and I don't want that. I don't want it to draw attention to that. So I think I am going to bite the bullet, cut this out, and I think that will look a lot better. I'm attaching the side panels to the front sections now, and I was reading ahead in the instructions and I realized, like, okay, I'm gonna need some drawstring cord, and I started panicking, going through all my cords, and I found a bunch of different cords. None of them were quite right. You can use, in the past I have used like rope from the hardware store, and I find it not to be a great option because it's a little bit more rigid. So I think proper drawstring cord from your sewing store is always going to be a better option. I dug around and I remembered I had this macrame cord in my car that I've been driving around with, so I went and got that, and it's actually perfect, and blue is good too, because the other ones I had, they're all cream and white. And I actually had this drawstring elastic as well, but I just feel that it's not going to be wide enough. So this pattern allows for a 5 centimeter elastic, and that looks about 3 centimeters to me, and I'd really rather keep true to the width of the elastic as much as possible. What else can I tell you about? I truly understand why there are so many notches on this pattern now, and I am absolutely grateful for them, because yeah, they really help you to line things up, and the instructions have given a lot of tips about that along the way as well, so that has been handy. There is a note attaching the side panels. I was getting super confused, like, because I made drawstring holes in the front panels, and now it says to make them in the side panels, and I was like, why are we making so many drawstring holes? And I had a really good look at the pictures online, and I can see that the drawstring can go out through the front, but it can also come back out the side and go back around, just for a little fun detail, and I do like that. I am going to skip it for my version. I just don't want to complicate things more than I have to, so I'm just going to keep with the one drawstring entry exit out the front and just simplify my life in every little way that I possibly can. So I'm going to keep sewing this. I'm probably going to put my headphones back on, just keep attaching these side panels. I think the next step is to go from attaching them to the front to attaching them to the back, and then sewing up the inseams of the pants. So I'm going to get up to that step and let's reconvene at that point. Okay, so that's my 2 pant legs there, fronts and backs together. Next step is to iron the waistband down while they're flat. I've never done that in 2 separate panels before, and then join these pants together. To iron my waistband down, because it's got to be ironed like 1.6 centimeters and then another like 5.7 centimeters to accommodate the elastic, I'm actually going to pull out this bad boy. It's a it's what's called like a hot hammer. It's a hot ruler, so you can use this with your iron. So this one's by Prim, but you can get, I've seen other brands as well. Ooh, this is my first time opening it. Ah, that's so interesting. So a big one. So yeah, if you want to do like neat, it's got little instructions like doing neat hems and things. A smaller one, which would be good for cuffs. This is so cool. There's like, because I do have another hot hammer somewhere, but it was more like felt. This one's some type of special plastic. So yeah, you can use that to hem. It's got dimensions both ways, and you can then fold over and iron it the right, you know, the right amount of centimeters. First fold over needs to be 1.6 centimeters. So the way the hot hammer works is, yeah, find your measurement there and you can fold over. I usually do most things by eye, but if you're very precise, you can. So that red line's 1 centimeters and that line there's 0.5. So I'm going to go something like that. It's good. And that's how you use it. So I've got 2 legs sewn together, separate legs, and I've got to join them together. So I'm going to flip one, so I flipped one right side out, one still inside out, and you place the right side you place one leg inside the other, and that way you can line the crotch up from front to back and sew that. So that's the next step, and then I'll have a pair of fully fledged pants and then just the waistband to do. I've got like 30 minutes. Oh, there's hems as well, because there's like these cuffs that go on the bottom of the pants. Not gonna get these finished today. Yeah, hopes are dashed. Joined. Let's flip them out. Let's see what we've got. You work really hard to see it come together. You get the full idea of it. It's so cool. Yes, that looks really good. I'm really happy. These are huge, by the way. Big pants. I'm a big pants girly. The back pocket, I love the back pockets, and I'm so glad I decided to do them in the same colour. That's what it looks like, and you can see how that works in. You know, I was looking at this and I'm like, this could have almost even been printed at the same factory. The colours are so similar, like the blue, the royal blue and the light blue, like they could have been printed at the same factory in the same era, because it's the base fabric is exactly the same. I'm so glad I decided to change and go with that in the end, because it looks really good and it's got the same weight, which I'm really happy about. They look good. I think generally people aren't going to be staring hopefully right at my bum like that, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. The length might be a little long, but I can always probably trim a little bit, a couple of centimetres if I have to, and have a shorter cuff. That's going to affect the cuff length. Food for thought. What do you think? Let me know in the comments what you think. What do you think about my fabric combinations? I'm personally super happy with it. Another thing I love, and I don't know if I've mentioned this, maybe I have, but the front pocket is like got this curved detail. It's super cool. Okay, so these are the final pants. Finished pants on. Cuffs are attached. And look, I love them. I love the shape of them. I love how comfortable they are. The only thing I'm surprised is my choice of fabric is a little out there. Like, even for me, it's really in the realm of happy pants, but I don't mind it. But I think a little bit, I don't know, there's something about it. You can't win every time, but I'm not gonna not wear them, if you know what I mean. Pockets on the back, such a beautiful design and construction. Let's do a final thoughts on this pattern. Okay, final thoughts on this pattern, and I'm going to sit down for this one, not necessarily because I've got a lot to say, but just in case I do. Let's pull it apart. So the Madrone Pants by Sew Liberated. I think it says the pattern is confident beginner to advanced, and definitely agree with that. I think just because of just the sheer number of panels that you need to put together for the construction, you probably want to have a little bit of skill under your belt. But hey, like, be totally optimistic. When I first started sewing, I would attack advanced patterns and whatever, just have a go. So if you're in that mind frame, I would say definitely go for it. And the instructions are very thorough. But on that note, the instructions, I do find the Sew Liberated instructions, yeah, just like a little too detailed for my brain. And I think this is a me problem. I like things to be brief and simplified, and sometimes too many words just actually end up confusing me. So I was in the realm of that while I was making it. 10 out of 10 would make this pattern again. I absolutely love the shape of these pants. Having all the different panels put together really gives the pants a really cool curved shape through the leg. And there is an example from Sew Liberated where they've been made in like different denims, and I'm super keen to do that. I mean, that's what hooked me in. I absolutely love the look of those pants, and I would love to have a pair like that in my wardrobe. Yes, definitely would make these again. And I think now that I've made them once, obviously I'm familiar with the construction of them, familiar with how it all goes together. Yeah, I think it's great, and I like the construction of the drawstring. Like, when you sew it together and you leave the little holes, like, I don't know if I've ever done that before, and I love little things like that when you sew something and you're like, oh, I've learnt something new. I'm gonna keep that one. It's good. So yeah, 10 out of 10 for this pattern. I mean, well, that's a high score, but I really do like it, and I like the result, and yeah, I do recommend it. So yeah, if you're a member of the Big Pants Club like me and you just adore an elastic waistband, oversized silhouette, then this is a great pattern for that. It ticks all the boxes. What can I say? It just ticks all the boxes, and it's got a cool style. So what more can you ask for? So yeah, it's a good one.